What happens when the system is so corrupt that criminals become heroes? A poor farmer's son becomes the most feared outlaw in Brazil. A young man in Australia fights the police in homemade armor. And a girl from the lowest caste in India becomes known as the Bandit Queen. These aren't just criminals. They're the real-life anti-heroes history never forgot.
When the system is so corrupt, people start cheering for criminals. Today we're going over stories of people who became real-life anti-heroes when they were pushed too far. Lampião. It's 1897, and in the dusty backlands of northeastern Brazil, a boy named Virgulino Ferreira da Silva is born to a family of simple farmers. His parents stare into the eyes of their newborn son and have no idea that he will one day become the most feared outlaw in Brazilian history. Growing up, Virgulino and his family aren't rich, but they get by, farming their small plot of land in the Sertão, the harsh semi-arid region of Brazil's northeast. Virgulino helps his father tend to their crops and goats. In his free time, he taught himself how to read and sew. Life is simple, and simple is good. But in the early 1900s, the Brazilian backlands are a lawless place controlled by wealthy landowners who rule their territories like medieval warlords. Called corones, these men are essentially oligarchs with their own private armies and who use the local police as their personal thugs. In 1916, Virgulino is 19 years old, and his family gets into a land dispute with a powerful local family called the Saturninos. At first, Virgulino's father tries to handle this the legal way by going to the authorities, then moving twice to try to keep his family safe and out of trouble. But the Saturninos are wealthy, and this feud will only end when they say it will. They accuse Virgulino's father of stealing one of their goats, and a group of police officers working for the Saturninos show up at the farm. Virgulino's father walks out to see what the matter is, and he discovers the cops are not there to make an arrest. They're there to send a warning. Virgulino watches from his hiding spot as the police beat his father nearly to death in front of their house. His mother is screaming for them to stop while his siblings cry out in fear. There's nothing he can do. The police laugh and ride away, leaving his father broken and bleeding in the dirt. His father survives, but he's never the same. The family is traumatized and terrified, but the Saturninos aren't done with them yet. On May 18th, 1921, the police return, and this time they open fire on the family home, and Virgulino's father is shot and killed. Virgulino barely escapes with his life, along with a few of his brothers. As he runs through the brush with bullets whizzing past his head, he turns back to see his family's home burning. His entire life, he had been taught to follow the law, to be a good person, but in the end, all that got him was his family murdered. The world is cruel. It had shown him that there was no justice for people like him, and in that moment, he decides that if respect cannot be earned through an honest life, he will take it with violence. Hey, did somebody say violence? Not me. Oh, could have sworn I heard. Never mind. Hey, you look kind of down. You should take a break and do some gaming or something. Like Bola Jiguji? What? No, like War Thunder. An unmatched wealth of high-quality content to discover. There's simply no game better suited for fans of military history. Well, guess I'll be hitting that dusty trail. Virgulino and his surviving brothers flee into the wilderness and join up with a group of cangaceiros, bandits who roamed the backlands of northeast Brazil. These men had their own code and their own brutal way of dealing with the wealthy landowners who had oppressed them. And this was exactly what Virgulino had been looking for. He quickly rises through the ranks and earns himself the nickname Lampião, the Lantern, because he could shoot a lever-action rifle so fast that his muzzle looked like a flickering lamp in the night. By 1922, Lampião had assumed control of the Cangaceiro band, and they began terrorizing the backlands. They attacked small towns and farms in 7 states, took hostages for ransom, extorted money by threats of violence, tortured, firebranded, raped, and maimed. But unlike other bandits who just robbed and pillaged randomly, Lampião initially targets the wealthy corones and their properties. Word of Lampião's raids on the rich spreads through the region, and he becomes a folk hero to the poor. The bespectacled cangaceiro was a walking contradiction. When he wasn't robbing and killing people, he would pray at churches regularly. He would brutally execute most police officers, but spare the townspeople he liked. He would rob from the rich and then buy items from local shopkeepers with the money. This isn't to say he was a nice guy or anything, just that there were reasons some of the poor didn't think he was all that bad a guy. In 1930, something unexpected happens. Lampião meets a woman named Maria Bonita, who, according to historical accounts, was super hot. She's married to a shoemaker, but after meeting Lampião, she leaves her husband, joins Lampião's gang, and becomes the first woman cangaceira. Together they rob, raid, and raise absolute hell throughout northeast Brazil, gaining a reputation similar to Bonnie and Clyde. They were sticking it to the man and having a blast while doing it. But as time progressed, Lampião's tactics became increasingly brutal. In one raid, his gang tortures and mutilates their victims as a warning to others. He personally oversees the executions of dozens of people, many of them beheaded in public squares. The boy who just wanted a simple life on the farm had transformed into something truly terrifying. By 1938, due to his increasingly brutal actions, Lampião had lost the trust of many of the local townspeople, and his luck finally runs out. The government had been working with local informants who tracked the movements of his gang. On July 28th, while Lampião, Maria Bonita, and 9 other gang members are sleeping in a hideout, they're ambushed by a police battalion at dawn. Lampião wakes to the sound of gunfire and grabs his rifle, but he's immediately hit multiple times. Maria Bonita tries to fight back, but she's gunned down beside him. Within minutes, the couple and 9 other gang members are dead. The police, wanting to make an example that would end the cangaceiro lifestyle forever, do something absolutely insane. They cut off the heads of all 11 gang members, preserve them in kerosene, and go on a tour throughout the Northeast, displaying them in town squares for everyone to see, which seems like a totally normal and not at all psychotic thing to do. The heads of Lampião and Maria Bonita were brought from town to town, and they weren't properly buried until 1969, over 30 years after their deaths. Ned Kelly. It's 1865, and in the small farming town of Avenel, Australia, an 11-year-old boy named Ned Kelly is walking along a creek when he hears screaming. A 7-year-old has fallen in and is drowning. Without hesitation, Ned jumps into the water and pulls him out, saving his life. He's given a bright green sash as a thank you for his heroism, and he proudly parades it around town. Ned is a good kid who is trying to survive in an impossible situation. His father, Red, is an Irish ex-convict doing his best to make ends meet on their small farm, but it's brutal. They're dirt poor and the land is unforgiving. The Kelly farm is tucked away in rural Victoria where the soil is tough and the British colonial authorities watch ex-convicts like hawks, just waiting for them to screw up. Things get so bad that Red already moved them once to his smaller farm in Avenel, basically gambling that the new area would solve all their problems. It doesn't, and the Kellys continue to struggle. One day, a calf wanders onto their property. Red looks at his starving children and then looks at this calf. Desperate and with no options, he kills it to feed his family. He knows this is wrong, but he doesn't know what else to do. The police show up and drag Red away in front of a young Ned for cattle theft. He's sentenced to 6 months of hard labor. He comes back a broken man and spirals into alcohol abuse. By December 1866, he's dead. At just 12 years old, Ned Kelly is now the man of the house. He's got 7 other siblings, and the responsibility of keeping his entire family alive just landed on his shoulders. The Kellys moved to Greta to be with his mom's extended family, but that doesn't magically solve their poverty problem. Ned needs money, and he needs it fast. So when bushranger Harry Power offers to take him on as an apprentice, Ned, now desperate, agrees. They become quite the duo, and Power teaches him everything: how to rob, how to survive in the bush, and how to stay one step ahead of the law. This goes on until June 1870, when Power gets arrested. Everyone knows Ned was involved, but there's no actual proof, so he walks free, and for a minute, it seems like maybe he got away with it. But in April 1871, Ned's riding around on a horse that belongs to a family friend when a cop attacks him out of nowhere. Ned gets subdued and pistol whipped, and here's the kicker. Turns out the horse had been stolen, just not by Ned. He's sentenced to 3 years of hard labor. When Ned finally gets out of prison, he tries to go straight, but his reputation precedes him everywhere. No one is willing to give him a chance at redemption. Eventually, he realizes that it's no use and goes back to a life of crime. He starts up a horse stealing ring, and surprisingly, he's really good at it, and it's incredibly successful. He's finally, for the first time, making actual money. But in April 1878, a cop named Fitzpatrick shows up at the Kelly house drunk off his ass, trying to arrest Ned's younger brother Dan. There's a scuffle, and Fitzpatrick gets shot in the hand. There are conflicting accounts on who pulled the trigger, but regardless, he goes straight to his superiors and claims the Kellys attacked him. Ned and Dan are already in the woods when the police come looking, but their mother is arrested and sentenced to 3 years of hard labor. The brothers offer to turn themselves in if they'll let their mom go. It's a direct trade. You want us? We're right here. Just free her, but the police refuse. At this